Okay, so today I'm looking at this, I think it's what they call a Greenote vacuum cleaner. And it's model, as it'll focus, looks like it's GSC30 600-watt vacuum cleaner. And I was told that it overheats. I suspect it just needs a good cleaning out of all the various filters and so forth to make it cool down from what it normally or back to what it normally should be. So I suspect it's a case of needing a good clean, and we'll see if we can get it working again. Let's see if this camera ever focuses. So yeah, I'm going to turn it on. Yeah, that vent in the side there is blowing out air, but it's not blowing out a lot of air. It looks like it might be clogged. So this is something that's going to need some attention. What else? Oh yeah, there's something on the back here. And yeah, something else that needs attention. So I'm going to clean this filter out and see if I can get to this other filter in the side here. Looks like I might have to take it apart to get to this filter, but this one should be fairly straightforward. And yeah, the air that was coming out of this vent was pretty warm already. So I'm going to do that first, clean this filter out and go from there. And as you can see, this filter is the inside of the filter. This is the outside of the filter. And it looks like it's a washable filter. And yeah, as you can see, that needs some attention. And those 4 holes there were completely clogged. The one's still clogged, and there's a lot of other dust and dirt, hair and stuff clogging the inside of this. So I'm going to pick the rest of that dust out of that hole and vacuum this area. See if I can get some of that extra dust out of there and see how we go from there. Well, that's somewhat cleaner now, and I cleaned this. It looks like it's an exit filter. The air exits through this filter before it comes out of the machine. So this being blocked would prevent the cooling of the motor, which is a good reason why it would be overheating. Anyway, so I've taken that out, I've cleaned it, washed it and dried it, so that's ready to go back along with the cover here. And I'm going to check actually inside where this thing empties, because often these get really clogged up, and yeah, it's got some dust in there obviously, but these usually remove, and usually you twist them and they'll come out. And a lot of people don't realize you can take these out and clean them, and so I'm gonna twist that, and oh yeah yeah, there's a lot of dirt and dust in there. And there's another filter. So yeah, oh yeah. So you can see why this thing why this thing is not performing very well. It looks like it's got, it looks like this has actually got hot, possibly melted. Yeah, it's not in very good condition. I might have to see if I can get a replacement filter, because this is in a real bad way. Well, I can try cleaning it, but as you can see, it's in a really bad state. It's actually warped. It's warped inwards in a number of places, this side and the other side. Looks like it's been, almost looks like it's been trodden on. No, maybe not, but anyway, I'm going to give this a good clean and see what happens once we give that a good clean and get some air flowing through it. So that's the next job. Well, I've cleaned both of these, and this has actually come up pretty well. It's still a little distorted, and this end cap actually comes off, so I took that off and cleaned underneath that. And this is still a little damp, so I can't put it back in yet, not until it's dried off fully. And it's going to take a little while to do that. So this is all clean now. And basically, I just took a toothbrush to it and gave it a good brush to start with, and then use some soap and water and a toothbrush, and gave it a good brush and a good flushing, and it looks like it's cleaned up pretty well. But like I say, I've got to wait for this to dry before I can put it back into the vacuum cleaner, because it's just going to suck all the water off here into the motor, and that won't do the motor any good. So once this is dry, we can see if it's allowing sufficient air through to keep the motor cool. And FYI, that is the dirt that came out of that filter. All this, that's on the back of a paper plate, but all that dust and dirt came out of the filter. So yeah, not very nice. So I've taken the 6 screws out here from this side, because I want to try and get to this filter here and clean that filter. Now, parting this has allowed me to take the front off the vacuum, so that's now going to be out of the way. And let's see what we've got in store for us here. They've used, actually the label's not now in the way. Previously the label was holding the 1/2 of the vacuum in place. I want to get to that filter. Ah, my boiler just came on. Alright, so, oh yeah, that is the inside of that filter, and it's totally clogged with dirt, hair and other debris, and I'm not sure if it will actually come out. It may come out of there, but as you can see, it's pretty badly clogged. Not sure if it's permanent. Yeah, I think it's meant to be permanently attached in there. But as you can see, it's disgustingly dirty. So I'm going to try vacuuming this and brushing it and see if I can get the majority of this out of there and clean that. I think that's an inlet filter for the motor, for cooling the motor, which obviously wasn't doing much good because it's so clogged. So I'm going to vacuum all this dirt and dust up and hopefully clean that and allow more air to come and cool the motor so it's not overheating constantly, which apparently it was. So now I'm going to get a vacuum and clear all this mess up and go from there. Hopefully I can clean that that matted mess and obviously get rid of all this dirt. Hopefully you can hear me over the noise of the boiler. Well, I found I can actually remove this filter, so I'm going to give this now a good clean. It's held on by these 4 little clips here, so I've already vacuumed the majority of it off there. There's still some underneath, so I'm going to give this a better clean and reinsert it on there, and then clean the rest of the dirt and dust out of the motor and then reassemble it all. So this is the next job. So that filter is nice and clean now. I first vacuumed all the dirt and dust off it and then washed it with some liquid soap and water, rinsed it well and dried it off well, so I can put that back into this side panel. Okay, so it's back in place and it's nice and clean. So I'm going to continue to clean the motor and see what additional dirt and dust I can get out of there. So I've taken the cover off the motor, and the motor's actually wrapped in like a felt substance, but you can see there's still a lot of dirt and dust that's accumulated around the motor here. This is intended to be here. This is like a felt wrap around the motor to keep dirt and dust out of the motor itself. So that has to be put back, but I've got to clean off some of this dirt and dust and before I reassemble it. It's there's quite a lot of dust that actually accumulated here on the windings of the motor, the laminates of the motor here. So yeah, I'll continue to clean. These wires back in place is a little bit of a challenge to get everything neatly back in place and flush to the motor and through this little slot here to enable us to get this side cover back on. So looks like everything's back there. I've reassembled the motor, cleaned all the felt that's wrapped around the motor, cleaned all that, reinstalled that, put the motor back together and reinserted it. Looks like it can only go in the one way because this screw slot here, screw hole, prevents you from having this motor in any other position. So that appears to be all back in the right place. This top panel with the power switch slots into each side. So it looks like I'm ready to put the side panel back on, but I've also got to get the front engaged when I do that as well. So I'm going to need both hands, so I'm going to put the camera down for now. Okay, so it's reassembled apart from the screws, so I'm going to put the screws back in. There's also a seal here that goes around at the back here, so I've got to put that back in. and reassemble the filters, and hopefully everything's going to function. So that's the next step. Okay, so it's reassembled and I've just plugged it back in, and let's see if it works. Yeah, that's outlet filter for the motor. Cooling the motor is working a lot more efficiently now. It's not clogged up like it was. Not sure how well that internal filter is going to stand up to any real work, but it's seems to have stayed in place. Difficult to see in this light, but it has remained in place, and I'm going to try and order one anyway, because it really needs to be replaced, but for the time being it is functional. So it looks like we're done. I'm going to give my relative this back. It looks like it's a imitation Dyson. It's sort of looks like it's based on a Dyson, the shape of a Dyson vacuum. But yeah, I think it's a cheap imitation of a Dyson. But anyway, everything's cleaned, back together and working. So like I say, I'm going to give this back to my relative, and hopefully it doesn't overheat now. I will, as I say, I will order a filter for the inside here, or rather here, and hopefully it's available online, relatively inexpensive. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. Thanks again. Bye for now.